Hi, Chad. I went to McDonald's just to get you the damn thumbnail, but they closed down offices for layoffs today. Let's talk about it. All right, man. Nah, that was way too awkward in front of McDonald's. I had way too many people looking at me, so I thought it would be appropriate that we go behind the power generator right now, simply because OPEC, that is the big deal of the day. So we'll jump back to McDonald's and we'll even talk about how that impacted the market and the little layoffs that they're doing. It did have a big impact today, but OPEC and the news we had yesterday, it was huge. So oil held that 6% gap up, but now it's not as much as the prices holding as much as the theme of oil coming back. So this could be a potential oil crisis, or it could be nothing. So let me just share with you a couple of the main points and what people are saying about this recent OPEC thing. There's a couple of theories and things to follow going out. So the first one is the Fed. Quite simply, oil going up, it is going to make the Fed's job a lot more difficult, especially if it brings back inflation. Even Fed Bullard, he said that this morning. If oil prices go up, that means you're probably going to have higher rates for longer. Now, bonds get a little confusing because you should have saw bond yields come up today. They ended up going down, and then that has to do with some of the manufacturing data, but that's the first thing. The Fed and the Fed's decision based on what happens with oil, that is the number one thing people are looking at. Now, number two, this is a theory going around, or how people are looking at it. Nobody knows why OPEC did what they did. Again, the White House commented on it. A lot of traders are saying stuff. Again, I'm sharing with you all these different theories going on, but if you've ever seen OPEC, I mean, we know damn well it's going to be filled with rumors. You never really know what's going to happen. So one thing people are discussing, they're saying, is why did OPEC do this? And now, could this be related to the China reopening? If OPEC is cutting production, maybe the China reopening is not as strong as we expected. So that's the second theory. And then the third theory, this one is interesting. Again, we got to bring the politics into it. But the third thing people are talking about in terms of why OPEC did this, they're saying it could be a response to Biden not refilling the SPR. So they kind of want to add pressure to Biden. People are saying he did not fill up. They said they were going to, but didn't. Now prices have been low, no purchase by the Americans. So the Saudis are like, nah, screw you. We're about to raise the price, or we're about to cut production. So that's theory number three. But now let's top it off with theory number four, because it's quite different than theory number three, but you kind of see the political nature, and it is simply that it is the Saudi Arabians trying to put pressure on all traders. So this is even a reference to bin Salman's comments in 2020. He says he wants the traders jumpy and doesn't want them to be comfortable. So it's like OPEC doesn't like the speculation, and doesn't matter if it's US, but anybody in general. So that's another theory. But those three or four things, hopefully you see why this is important. And like I'm saying here, the whole key with all of this is simply whether or not this turns into a bigger issue and plays out something like last year with energy. If not, then it might be here today, gone tomorrow. I mean, it was at the beginning of the year, end of last year. Oil was at similar prices. The question is now, do we start seeing trends flip everything that brought oil and energy down? And now, do we watch oil come back and become an inflationary pressure and all of that? So in a way, this is kind of like day one or day number two of the SVB situation. We're watching the oil stuff break down. We've watched drama back and forth with OPEC in the markets over the years. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's not. So these next few days, it will be interesting. So I hope that helps. But now let's talk about the rest of the day in McDonald's. I'm going to go to my desk, okay? You know, energy, power, bro. All right, hold on.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but the sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
So now for the rest of the day, it was a wild one. This is how it looked. We had a slight gap down, and don't forget, Friday was a beast of a day, but then the only real news was oil. And now what we saw today was not only did energy bring stocks up, I mean, energy as a whole was up 5.5%. 5%, but then a lot of these defensive names, staple names, the safe haven names, a lot of people started rushing towards it, even in conjunction with both like materials and commodities. One thing we saw was the defensives. This is what I'm talking about with the whole energy oil thing, because it looks like a lot of trades from 2022, again, same time frame, they all started kind of working in tandem again. But we also saw just a lot of safe havens across the board still hold up, and this has been an issue. Bonds are still holding. That was based on the data. People still want protection. I think the yen even caught a bid. It was negative in the morning, but gold was up. All of these things kept holding, and that's where we started to notice the defensives were up. And now one part of it is that we had a lot of bearish sentiment today. So even in the morning, Morgan Stanley, Mr. Michael Wilson, he said a lot. What did he say? Yeah, there's like 3 different headlines. It was one, he said tech rally is overdone. Then he said there's few signs that a new bull market has begun. And then he says that earnings are going to be the next risk to earnings. So there was a lot of his statements. And then even Kalanovic, he said that stocks are going to retest the lows. But there was a lot of this negative sentiment, but we ended up opening good. But even the bank stocks, big banks were decent. Regionals ended up going lower. And there was kind of this, okay, we're responding to oil moving the markets. People are kind of waiting for the next step with the Fed, but nothing has really happened. And then the data today showed a hard landing, but it also meant more accommodative Fed. But the point is, we got to wait for this data now. Friday's non-farms, the market will be closed, and that's going to be interesting. But it's either going to be the data, or it's going to be OPEC, or quite simply the week after this week, it's going to be CPI, then it's going to be earnings. But it seems like the market's kind of in this weird lull until we get any action or news. It might be able to either melt up, stay the same, or it's probably going to take a shock and people not feeling as optimistic for things to come down. But like I'm telling you, we kind of got to list the catalyst along the way. So we're going to see what happens with it, but it was a very wild day. I'm sure this week is going to be a mix of boring and exciting, but I would keep your eyes on that oil situation. I would keep watching the bonds. And I guess now to talk about some of the plays here, really, I am just going to talk about the bonds because it is going to be very, very difficult to watch. But in the sense that what you saw today is, like we're saying, oil, that should have meant that higher rates would lead to higher yields. But then it was the bad ISM data that had people kind of feeling optimistic that if the economy gets worse enough, the Fed won't have to keep the rates. But the whole thing is, you're watching people shift to defensives today. The bonds are holding their bid. Even after the data, the bonds even held this up. This is all showing something. And the point is, just watch the bonds until things calm down. And why I'm saying I want to talk about this for the plays, because I've even been doing plays. I sold out of the DWAC. I grabbed 50 shares of Tesla today. I even grabbed SOX S. I'm making these smaller trades. I feel like a schmuck because I'm trying to go to neutral. But one thing I've been saying here today is just quite simply, like, you could focus on the big stuff and make it somewhat easier. And again, until the bonds cool off, I'm pretty much going to be uncertain until I see the bond market chill out. Has the move index came down? Yes, it has. And some people are hoping that that could fuel an April rally here in the market, but we just really got to see what happens here. And over the last couple of days, it's just, if people keep buying protection, even with the markets going up, it's like a game of chicken to see who's going to end. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be watching. And then we'll see now with the oil plays. I did grab Husa as like a risky oil play. We brought this up last time oil started running around there too, and I still got my Oxy shares. They went positive. I've had those since the end of last year, but still riding all that other stuff out. We're going to see how it plays, but again, I think we have some time, and hopefully we just don't get trapped, and hopefully the market moves, but I'm expecting we're still going to deal with this uncertain environment, so I hope you're ready for it, Chad. But that is your watch list. That is everything. I love you all. Drink your water. Stay hydrated. Stay healthy. I'm not going too crazy because I want to be calm like this week, or we'll see by Friday. And it's Good Friday, baby. You know that. So Merry Christmas. Happy Easter. Was I supposed to say Merry? Damn, I made it awkward. Okay, listen, chat. I love you. But for real, stay in the game. You're there. Don't fall in love with the prison. It is game time. Focus. This Monday already flew by, and it's the first of the quarter. Before you know it, it's earnings and everything, and then it's summer. But chat, I love you. God bless you. I'll see you in the morning. Thank you for everything, and it's game time. What do you like the McDonald's thing? You like the power? Is the power thing weird? Are y'all be like, are you bearish? Am I bearish because I have a power generator? I don't even, I'm gonna go, man. All right.